and welcome to One Creative Mommy. Today I'm sharing a craft and printable to go with the 2019 Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints mutual theme for the youth. The theme this year is If You Love Me, Keep My Commandments. So this is a string art project with a printable that the kids can use to put up in their rooms all year long. They can choose the colors so they match their room, and we did it with about 14 girls at once and they had a great time. I hope you will enjoy it as well. Here's what you'll need for the project. Mod Podge with satin finish, acrylic craft paint, foam brush, embroidery floss, and a sharp tapestry needle, my printable, a 5x7 or 6x8 canvas from the dollar store, and a piece of wax paper. Begin by painting the edges of your canvas. You won't need to paint the whole thing because most of it will be covered up by the printable. Just be sure that you cover the sides really well and about an inch or so around the top of the canvas. When you're finished, you'll want to set it out to dry somewhere where the edges won't touch anything. I like to set mine just on top of my bottle of Mod Podge. It keeps it up while it's drying so that it doesn't get anything painted. Once it's dry, your next step is to apply your Mod Podge. So using a foam brush, I'm using a wider one than I showed you, but it's all dirty. I want you to see that. Paint it liberally onto the back of your printable and be sure to get all the edges. That's the most important part. Next, carefully lay your printable onto your canvas and center it as best as you can. Rub gently from the center to the edges to remove the bubbles. Flip it over onto a piece of wax paper and smooth again from the inside of the frame. Again, start from the middle and work your way out. Flip it back over and make sure that all of the edges are sticking. Note that I have sped up the camera to make this video shorter for you. It will take more than the few seconds you see here to make sure that the printable is sticking to the canvas. Now paint Mod Podge over the top of the image, covering the entire front of the canvas. Once it's all painted on, drag your brush horizontally across the whole canvas and then vertically. When the Mod Podge dries, this will make it the finished look like the weave of canvas. Allow the canvas to dry for 20 to 45 minutes. It really depends on the temperature and the humidity of your room, how long it will take. Notice that there are still bubbles in my canvas. That's okay. Luckily for this project, once you poke lots of holes in the canvas, most of the bubbles will disappear or be covered by the string art. Now using a needle, pin, or thumbtack, poke a hole through every black dot on the page. I started out using a thumbtack because I thought it would be easier to use, but I was wrong. It still works, but it doesn't go through the paper as easily as the needle. Once I switched to a needle, poking the holes was much easier, and I think the holes looked a lot cleaner. Now, while you're watching me punch the holes, let me tell you a little bit about the embroidery floss. When you finish punching, you'll need about 4.5 yards of embroidery floss to complete the project on the 6x8 canvas, which is what I'm showing you here. And the girls each used half of an 8 3/4 yard string. To begin, cut your 4.5 yard piece of embroidery floss in half. Thread your needle and tie a large knot at the end of one string. Begin by coming through the back of the canvas into the top center of the heart. You could start anywhere, but it's easier to center the design if you start in the middle. Stitch across the top to the outside hole. Then stitch back through the center dot again and across to the next outside hole to create a V shape. Now move to the next hole along the heart and create another V shape. Continue creating V's until you get almost to the bottom of the heart. Now I'm speeding up this video to about 600% so you don't have to watch this so slowly. Remember, don't go quickly. It's easy for such a long piece of floss to get tangled. To avoid tangles, pull the floss through slowly. If your floss does get tangled, which it most likely will, don't panic. Just flip your canvas to whichever side the knot is on, and then gently pull the floss backwards to loosen that knot, and then you should be able to finish pulling it through nice and easy as long as you're going slowly. So it will probably happen to you over and over. Don't worry about it. Just don't pull the knot tight. As long as you pull it back softly, it should undo the knot. Your pattern will be not quite symmetrical around the whole heart unless you make a little change at the bottom. The bottom 3 V's need to connect together to make a little 3-peaked mountain shape if you want your pattern to be even. If you don't care about the pattern being completely symmetrical, then just continue making your V's. You'll need to connect some V shapes at the very end, though. Once you've connected those 3 peaks, you can just go back to stitching as usual. Here's a look at the 2 different ways that you can finish your project. Here's with the mountain peaks at the bottom, and then this one has the V's connected at the top. If you choose not to connect the V's at the bottom, you will have to connect the last 3 V's at the top. Keep stitching until your floss gets almost too short to continue stitching. Then, tie it off on the back with a double knot and continue with a new thread. Once you reach the end, tie off your floss again on the back and trim the end. That's it. They're ready to hang up or display on a shelf. Be sure to visit my post to see the greeting card version of this design and to hear my tips on adapting this for a 1-day or 2-day project. I'd love to hear what other types of projects you'd like to see. Let me know in the comments.